Imagine being a battle-hardened war correspondent, like you've survived active combat zones.
Right, you embedded with military units overseas.
Exactly. And you know the distinct, terrifying sound of incoming artillery. Yet the most chaotic, disorienting moment of your entire year happens while you're, wearing a tuxedo.
Yeah, literally diving under a cocktail table in a lavish Washington, D.C. ballroom.
It's insane. Welcome to today's deep dive. It is Tuesday, April 28th, 2026, and we are unpacking an event that has dominated, literally every screen, feed, and front page for the last 72 hours.
We really are looking at a situation that escalated with just breathtaking speed.
Oh, for sure.
Because on April 25th, during the White House Correspondents Dinner, heavily armed security rushed the main ballroom following reports of loud bangs.
It's a totally unprecedented scene.
And within moments, they executed this rapid, high-intensity evacuation of President Donald Trump right out of the premises. And this all happened on live camera.
Right in front of the world's most prominent media figures.
Exactly. The very people whose entire profession is built on observing the news.
Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine being in a room filled with the world's top journalists, and suddenly they become the breaking news themselves. How do we separate the facts from the immediate spin?
Well, it's tough because the aftermath has been an absolute whirlwind.
Yeah, and we've got a massive stack of sources to get through today. We're pulling from international reporting, places like Al Jazeera and the BBC.
Plus local coverage from ABC7.
Right, and visceral updates from DRM News and even, late-night television and primetime exclusives. Our mission today is to synthesize this totally chaotic breaking news environment.
Which is really needed right now.
Yeah, we want to cut through the noise. We need to figure out how an active security emergency morphed into political ammunition before the sun even came up.
But before we dive into the mechanics of that timeline, we really need to set the parameters for our analysis here.
Good point. Lay it out.
So, the sources we're utilizing today span the entire political and cultural spectrum. We're looking at late-night comedic roasts, highly partisan independent commentary, and extensive presidential interviews.
It's all over the map.
Right. So our objective is to neutrally analyze the media ecosystem itself. We're looking strictly at how information about this event was gathered, packaged, and consumed.
Exactly, just mapping the terrain.
Yes. We're not taking sides or endorsing the political framing of any specific outlet.
We're just looking at how the event and its context are being reported. So let's start with those first few chaotic hours, because to understand the media circus that followed, we really have to look at the immediate, terrifying moments inside the ballroom.
The fog of breaking news.
Yes, the fog of breaking news, and how the language of the reporting shifted in real time. If you track the initial alerts, there's a massive discrepancy in how the danger was defined.
Oh, completely. Look at Al Jazeera English, for example.
Yeah, what did they say?
They kept their initial framing strictly to observable phenomena. They reported, quote, loud bangs causing a scene of confusion, and highlighted the visible deployment of heavily armed security.
So they adhered to a very rigid observational standard like, we heard this, we saw that.
Exactly. But if you look at local and domestic networks, that cautious framing vanished almost instantly.
Right, because ABC7 News, the local affiliate, they bypassed the ambiguity of loud bangs entirely.
Yeah, they didn't hold back.
No, they didn't. Their reporting explicitly stated that videos capture the moment shots were fired.
They escalated it to a confirmed shooting right away.
And concurrently, you had the BBC rolling out a structured, what we know so far breakdown of the shooting.
While DRM News was broadcasting incredibly visceral coverage. They were describing chaos erupting in Washington as the president was pulled to safety.
So it's like trying to sketch a car crash while you're still inside the vehicle. But given that the room was literally packed with seasoned reporters, why was there still a discrepancy between loud bangs and shots fired in the first 48 hours of reporting?
Well, it seems counterintuitive, right?
But
those journalists are battling both acoustic physics and human physiology.
What do you mean?
So, a massive hotel ballroom is an acoustic nightmare during an emergency. You have these cavernous ceilings, hard floors, and specialized acoustic panels.
Which are designed to project a single voice from a stage, not dampen sudden explosions.
Right, so when a loud bang occurs, whether it's a blown speaker, a dropped tray, or a firearm, the sound waves bounce violently off every hard surface.
Oh, wow. So it completely masks where the sound actually came from.
Exactly. Even if you're standing 10 feet away, your ears might tell you the sound came from the balcony because of how the wave bounced.
That is wild.
And then you combine that environmental chaos with auditory exclusion. Under acute, sudden stress, the human brain initiates a massive adrenaline dump.
The fight or flight response.
Yeah. It begins triaging sensory input. It essentially shuts down the processing of certain sound frequencies so you can focus entirely on visual threats.
Just strictly survival mode.
Right. So a reporter might be trained to observe, but their central nervous system is overriding that training, screaming at them to take cover.
Well, that reframes the entire reporting process. They aren't actually reporting on the bang itself because they can't reliably process it.
No, they're reading the room. And
Mhm.
more specifically, they're reading the security detail.
Oh, right. Because when the Secret Service swarms a stage in full tactical gear, reporters immediately infer the level of danger from that response.
The security reaction becomes the primary source of truth, long before any forensic evidence is gathered.
And that's the fog of war in breaking news. Even professional observers are vulnerable to panic, which is why synthesizing these early reports is so crucial for you, the listener. Newsrooms were forced to weigh speed against verification.
Do you report the 100% factual loud bangs and risk underplaying a historic assassination attempt?
Or do you report shots fired based on the extreme reaction of the security apparatus, risking a massive public panic if it turns out to be audio feedback?
Exactly. ABC7 and DRM News chose to reflect the severity of the security response, while Al Jazeera leaned on literal sensory data.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because this incident happened at a media dinner, the transition from an active security threat to political spin happened faster than ever before.
Oh, it was warp speed.
Yeah, we move from the physical facts on the ground to the battle for the narrative. Does the fact that the media were both the targets and the reporters of this event fundamentally distort how it's covered? I mean, they aren't just reporting the news, they're analyzing their own trauma.
Well, the modern media ecosystem cannot pause for reflection. An event is immediately commodified into content.
Yeah.
Look at the immediate political maneuvering.
It was staggering. Just one day later, CBS's 60 Minutes aired an extended interview with President Trump about the incident.
Just one day. Think about the mechanical reality of that timeline. Coordinating with a presidential security detail that is already on high alert.
Securing a location, lighting the set, conducting the interview, and pushing that footage through editing to meet a primetime broadcast window.
It means the political and media apparatus were moving in absolute lockstep to turn that around in a single day.
But 60 Minutes wasn't the only one doing this. Simultaneously, you had The Daily Show reporting on Trump spinning the shooting for what they called a ballroom agenda.
Yeah, the Daily Show pointed out that Trump wasn't just doing a generic interview. He was actively utilizing the location of the event to project a narrative of defiance directly back at the reporters.
He was setting the agenda for the very people who were diving under the tables. It's surreal.
It is surreal. And because the media itself is involved, that commodification becomes highly self-referential, which leads to bizarre details in the coverage.
Oh, the bizarre details, like The Daily Show highlighting CNN's Wolf Blitzer as a one-shoot hero.
Right. You have this legendary stoic news anchor navigating a terrifying evacuation, and he's lost a shoe.
They aren't just reporting the news, they're analyzing their own lost shoes. The coverage seamlessly blended genuine existential terror with internet meme culture.
Whether it's a 60 Minutes exclusive or late-night comedic relief, the event is instantly transformed into a product.
And the friction over that product reached entirely absurd levels. Jimmy Kimmel was covering the fact that Donald Trump was actively demanding Kimmel's firing over his commentary on the event.
While Jimmy Kimmel had just hosted an alternative White House Correspondents Dinner days prior.
Openly roasting Trump across town. You have a president evacuated by tactical teams from a dinner honoring the press, and within hours, he's locked in a public feud with a late-night host.
It's a closed loop feeding on itself.
But wait, to really understand the hyper-vigilant response of the heavily armed security, why they initiated an immediate aggressive evacuation instead of just forming a protective ring, we have to look at the broader picture.
The context outside the ballroom.
Exactly, a fortress city. The Secret Service wasn't just guarding a dinner. They were operating during a massive, high-risk diplomatic convergence.
Right, because the dinner happened to coincide with the high-profile state visit of King Charles III and Queen Camilla.
Imagine trying to safely host a massive gala while simultaneously juggling the security apparatus of the British monarchy across town. DC wasn't just on alert, the security matrix was already stretched like a rubber band.
Oh, absolutely. We connect this to the bigger picture. The city was hosting multiple global heads of state.
You had the formal White House arrival ceremony, which FOX5 New York covered extensively.
And the Associated Press was live streaming the King's historic address to the U.S. Congress.
The overlapping jurisdictions are a logistical nightmare. Secret Service, Capitol Police, Metropolitan Police, British intelligence.
And the presence of foreign heads of state fundamentally alters the rules of engagement for security personnel.
So the CPU is running at 99% capacity.
Right. When you have an allied head of state in the capital, the tactical response apparatus is operating at a maximum threat posture. The margin for error is zero.
So when those loud bangs echo through the ballroom, the tactical teams don't have the bandwidth to slowly process it.
No, they have to consider if this is a coordinated diversionary attack designed to draw resources away from the King's location.
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
So they execute a hard reset evacuation immediately. The rapid, heavily armed evacuation of the president makes even more sense when viewed through the lens of a city already locked down for a royal visit.
They assumed the worst-case scenario because the geopolitical stakes were astronomically high.
And let's not forget the political friction of the visit itself.
Oh, right. We saw independent outlets like the Midas Touch Network objectively reporting that King Charles essentially torched Trump in his speech to Congress.
So the atmosphere was incredibly charged on multiple fronts before the dinner even started.
You had heightened diplomatic security protocols intersecting with aggressive political narratives.
It created an environment where any sudden anomaly would trigger an overwhelming kinetic response.
Man, we have covered a massive amount of ground today.
We really have.
Let's bring it all together for you. We started by summing up the rapid escalation from loud bangs to a confirmed shooting, looking at how the physics of sound and adrenaline distort reality.
Then we looked at the dizzying speed of the media spin cycle.
Yeah, moving from existential terror to Wolf Blitzer's lost shoe and primetime 60 Minutes interviews in less than 24 hours.
And finally, we set all of that against the tense backdrop of King Charles III's historic visit to Congress, which forced the Secret Service into an immediate zero-tolerance evacuation posture.
Navigating modern news requires looking past the immediate panic and late-night punchlines. You have to understand the underlying mechanics of how security, politics, and media collide in real time.
And that leaves us with a critical, lingering question to ponder. When a major security incident is instantly transformed into political ammunition and late-night television content before all the facts are even known, are we losing our ability to objectively assess real danger? Think about that the next time a breaking news alert flashes on your screen.
That is such a powerful point to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the headlines, keep looking for the real context, and we will catch you on the next one.